Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Harry Fantasy Podcast. My name is Hunter, and I'm joined by my partner in crime, Chad.
Hey, what's up, man?
Okay, so this was a crazy week in fantasy, my friend. Um, and the number one topic I have written here is Austin Davis against the Eagles. Let me read him. Let me read his stat line: 29 for 39 completions, 375 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Oh, wow.
That is tremendous because that's honestly what I thought Kyle Orton would do last week, and I really shouldn't have said that. Moving on from that topic, um,
Right.
I feel like the Rams as a whole had a very, very, very good week in fantasy because you also have Brian Quick, who I've been very high on so far. He had 5 catches, 87 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and he got, I think he had about 20, no, not 20. He had about 15 to 20 fantasy points in Yahoo standard leagues. And that is very good for someone who really nobody knew about coming into the year. And now he's the Rams' number one targeted receiver. And, I just feel like that guy has stepped up just tremendously. So, Chad,
Yep.
I'm going to ask you, who is your winner? If you could pick one, who is your best fantasy player overall this week? If you could only pick one.
If I could only pick one that I can pick one or that I actually have.
No, that you out of overall, not just whoever is on your team.
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning.
Yeah. You put up
See,
almost 70 points in Yahoo League, so Peyton Manning. Yeah.
see, I'm gonna go Arian Foster on this one.
But I outscored you. My pick outscored you.
That I don't even care about that.
You're
I'm
just
just going by
saying,
because Arian Foster last week we were talking about how injured he was, and now he had 170 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. That is a big leap from where he was last week.
yeah.
Because last week we were talking about how a bust he could be, and he comes out and puts it in our faces by
Yeah.
getting 172 yards on 23
I
carries.
recall saying I recall saying hashtag Alfred Blue last week, and
Alfred
I'm
Blue.
regretting that severely.
You regret that? You regret that decision?
I do. I do. I don't know why I said that, but
Okay, so here's the other winners that I have down here. I have Andy Dalton down as a fantasy winner. Because of how bad the game was, he still came out with very good numbers.
How many
Uh,
attempts did he have?
15 out of he had 24 attempts, 15 completions, 204 yards and 2 touchdowns. But that's about, I think, 35 points, 30 points in Yahoo, something like that. And that's very good because if you look at the way the game went down, it's kind of like the Austin Davis. Like that's kind of how fantasy is.
Yeah.
It's just that you don't look at a team performance, you look at the player performance. And 2 touchdowns in a game where they only scored 17 points. So that is very good. Now for Giovanni Bernard owners, that was not very good. I know that you own him in our league.
Yeah.
I don't how many points did he get? Do you know exactly?
Um, I think he only got like 10.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, he
something
got
that he
10.20. Yeah.
okay. Another one of my winners is Demarius Thomas. This guy just went off. I mean, eight catches, 226 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then he broke the receiving yards record in a game for the Broncos. So, congrats to you, Demarius Thomas, because he was a guy that he was on my bust list coming into this week because of all the drops he has. He just hasn't been producing the way we all thought he would,
Yeah.
and he came out and gave you 226 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I'm gonna say this: Demarius Thomas, he could be back, folks.
You heard it here
It,
first.
it's a possibility that it's back. Um, Another one of my guys on my list, I have Stephen Ridley. 27 carries, 113 yards, and 1 touchdown. And I put him on the list because, again, coming into the game, nobody expected Stephen Ridley to do anything against a very good Bengals defense. And the fact that he got over 100 yards and a touchdown is marvelous.
What about
And
Vincent
then,
Jackson?
who?
Does he...
Oh, See, I was going to put him on the list, but I only had 6 spots.
Well, you didn't tell me I
And,
had 6 spots.
You're right. I did. I should have mentioned that at the start.
Well, that's fine. I think I'll just stick with Peyton.
I do believe he had a good game because of the way he's been playing so far this year, basically doing nothing. I know you own him, right?
I do, yeah.
And he's been complete garbage so far.
The past 2 weeks have been great for him, so
yeah,
I'll take it from here going forward. Mike Glennon is the best thing to happen to him this season.
Okay. The other guy I had on my list was Golden Tate. He had 7 catches for 134 yards and a touchdown. I had this kind of 50-50 because some people were saying that he's coming into the year as number 2 behind Megatron, and that he's going from a 1 to a 2. People didn't know how I was gonna react to that. People didn't. And I feel like so far he's done very well at that number 2 spot, especially with the fact that Megatron's not doing anything right now with his ankle injury.
The thing is with Golden Tate, he was already should have been drafted. Well, obviously hindsight is 2020, but he should have been drafted highly anyway. But I know that he was slipping away into later rounds, like I think as late as like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
So the thing is, he should have been drafted anyway because he's a promising receiver. But also, he was able to produce with Calvin in limited stints, and now with Calvin not playing at all, I think Caldwell is going to preserve him for Week 6, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, or is there still no word on that?
Yeah. When we get to the injury report, I'll mention more about that. But he has been. We're pretty sure that Calvin Johnson won't even be playing the game.
So that's 2 weeks in a row that we are pro Golden Tate. So hint.
I'll also add this. Week 1, when Calvin Johnson had his really only big game of the year, Golden Tate had reasonable numbers.
Yeah.
He didn't have a touchdown. I think he had like 6 catches for 80-something yards, and that is very respectable. Like obviously you had Golden Tate. I don't think you sat him. I feel he's a great flex player. Now with Megatron out, I'm moving him to like a wide receiver 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the fact that he's gonna get a bulk of the receptions now. So those were my winners of the week. Do you have anything, any other players you'd like to add to that list, Chad?
I would add Brandon Oliver. He had a really, really good week. He had 19. Wait, where is it? Yeah, he had 9 carries for 23 yards. No, that's not the right game. Oh wait, Week 5?
Yes.
Oh wait, never mind. I changed my mind.
You stumble in that?
Not Brandon Oliver.
You want me to move on?
Oh,
I could move on.
He had 182 total purpose yards against the Jets. There it is. Jeez, Yahoo app. Took like 9 hours to load. All right, yeah. He had 19 rush attempts for 114 yards, and he caught 4 passes for 68 yards. Never let technology dictate anything. Jeez, I was like, wait, I'm reading like stats from September where he didn't do anything. All right.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you this question about Brandon Oliver.
Okay.
Do you think he's like the next Darren Sproles?
It all depends on his workload. We have a very small sample size as far as him as an NFL player. So it depends. Like, I know that for the next 2 weeks he should be starting. I think he could be. I think he's more powerful than Brandon Sproles is, but you know, we only time will tell.
Yeah, and because Ryan Matthews, he'll be back sooner. He'll be back soon. I think Brandon Oliver has about 2 more good weeks left before he gets bumped down when Ryan Matthews comes back. But then it's all gonna matter about how well Ryan Matthews performs coming off the injury.
Do you think?
And go ahead.
Do you think that San Diego will, you know, do the whole two-headed monster thing at running back that so many other teams have converted over to?
Well, because they were doing it before, but then crap.
Danny Woodhead?
Danny Woodhead, yes. Thank you for saving me there.
No problem.
They were doing a two running back. It was kind of Ryan Matthews got a little bit more than Danny Woodhead, but now that he's hurt, it's either we really don't know what they're gonna do because they could just go Ryan Matthews full on, but I feel like Oliver's been playing decent enough that I think he's earned that right. I mean, only after this week, we only have a small sample size, so we still have about 2 more weeks to see how well he plays.
Right.
But I do think that it's a conversation to have about whether they're gonna run two running back sets.
I have another winner.
Cause he.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. No, you go. I was about to move on to a different topic, so let's finish. let's finish yours.
This one might spill over into injury report. I'm just being silly here, but another winner would be Mark Ingram. Because he was dropped by many, many fantasy owners, and I think most people will have an opportunity to pick him up because he will resume play after the Saints bye week, and he will start playing in Week 7. So he's only owned in 30% of fantasy leagues, so he could be on the free agency. So if I were you, I'd definitely pick him up.
See, that kind of moves on to my next topic because I was about to do a waiver wire, just a little run through.
Oh, my bad, man. Go ahead.
No, I mean you kind of led perfectly into it.
I did, didn't I? Yeah.
My number one guy this week is Andre Williams, the New York Giants running back.
Ooh, yes.
Last week, I saw him there, and he wasn't doing anything before the game against the Redskins. I picked him up because I can't remember who it was, but I needed a bye week player, and I watched during the Redskins game, and he surprised me because he had a touchdown, he had some garbage time runs and stuff, and it surprised me because I was like, oh, good, this bye week player didn't completely mess me up this week.
Right.
I still lost, but we're not going to get into that. And then the question after last week was, or not last week, the week before, the big question was, do I keep him or do I just drop him now? And I decided to keep him. He was on my bench, so he didn't really help me this week because I didn't really need him. But I feel like he's a guy that now I feel like a lot of the other analysts are kind of jumping on ship with him. So he's gonna start going quick. So he's my number one guy on the waiver wire right now. He has 2 straight games with a touchdown. He has he's getting over 70 yards a game. Well, the past 2 games, 70 yards rushing. So he's my number one guy on the waiver wire. My number 2 guy is a guy that I've actually been preaching about him for the past couple weeks now, and that's Brian Quick. I already mentioned him earlier in the pod, but he had 5 catches for 87 yards and 2 touchdowns. And this guy, he doesn't have any PPR value at all, because he's only getting about 5 to 6 catches a game. But he's getting receptions, and they've been consistent with him, especially with the fact that Austin Davis is their quarterback right now. So they're not taking a whole lot of shots downfield, which kind of hurts people's fantasy value, but not for Brian Quick. He is he's more of a kind of check down receiver. So that's where, and he's very good off after the catch. So he is my number 2 waiver wire. Do you have any other other than Mark Ingram? Do you have any other guys notable on the waiver wire right now?
The only person that comes to mind would be Odell Beckham Jr. Recently signed
Yes.
for the New York Giants. I think he had a touchdown catch Sunday, so that's the only
Yeah.
waiver. Because like the thing is, my experiences with waiver wire in general is based off of the league that we're in, and anything that's good is gone.
Yeah,
Also,
that's kind of what happened.
sorry, go ahead. You can go ahead.
Well, I was just about to say, I was only going to say that by this time of year, there's not really that many free agents out there anymore, and fantasy wise. So the only free agents that there really are that are worth like mentioning are guys who are hurt and they've still got 3 or 4 weeks left on their injury.
Yeah.
So it's really hard. I mean, depending on the player, sometimes you can buy into them earlier. Like a perfect example is Josh Gordon. This Jim Overdeuce picked up in almost every single league, and he's not even going to be playing till week 12. So it's just guys like that I was. You can go ahead now.
But don't sleep on this dude that's owned in 0% of fantasy leagues in Yahoo, Tom Crabtree. You'll probably get one.
Saints.
You'll get 1 week of use out of him, 1 week, and that's it. But if you need it, he should soak up targets if Jimmy Graham is not active for week 7. I don't actually know if he will be, but it says it's tentative, so who knows? He could be ready.
Yeah.
He could not be, but.
See, if people are like me and they grabbed Travis Kelce earlier on, he's on a bye right now. So if you're like me, I own him in like 3 or 4 out of my 5 leagues. I'm either gonna pick Crabtree up or Tim Wright.
Oh man.
Or the New England's tight end.
Tim Wright
had a great game last week. Even though he only played on 19 of 84 snaps, he still had a 5.85-1 stat line.
I'm just saying, Tim Wright is a free agent in our league, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
Yes, I know.
And I need a replacement for who's my tight end? I need a replacement for Dwayne Allen in week 10. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up Tim. Wait, no. Do the Patriots have the same bye week? When is the Patriots bye week?
Patriots bye week. I don't know. I will be able to look that up in a minute. Actually, no, I got it right now. Their bye week is week 10.
Dang it! So that doesn't help me at all. All right, never mind.
Okay, so those were my waiver wire guys. Let's move on to the injury report. Now, I think we both know who's going to be at the top of this. Calvin Johnson, dealing with the ankle injury. I have gotten multiple reports that he is not going to be playing this week. So now the discussion is, what do you do with him? Because I mean, obviously you don't start him if he's not playing. So the discussion is, what do you do with him long term? What are your? I know you don't own him, but if you did, what would you do right now that you just learned that Calvin Johnson is out for the week?
Like I said, I would just take advantage of people who think that they're smart and pick up injured first rounders, like it's their job to just pick up the McCoys and Gordons and Calvin Johnsons of the world, thinking that it'll work out for them, and sometimes it will. You never know. But if you can get like a wide receiver 2, or maybe like a running back 2 or something like that, I definitely use them to get multiple players. I'd say that much.
Yeah.
But that's me speaking from a smart perspective. If I had to go with my gut, I'd probably just keep them. I'd probably just
Yeah, because
wait till he gets
that's what I was
healthy.
thinking. I was like, because the real question is if he ever gets healthy, if he ever gets back to 100%. Now it is just an ankle, so I mean it's not like a lingering injury. I don't think it's not like it's his foot or his hammy or his groin or something like that. It's his ankle, and it's gonna take a week or two. But the question is, does he ever get back to the form that we all know he is capable of? Not even capable of, that we know he can do.
Right.
That's just the question. So I feel like you can sell high now. It's just, are you gonna regret that decision down the road?
Yeah,
That's the real question.
that's a tough one because
So oh no, you go.
the struggles as far as someone not producing well, like someone like a I don't know, maybe like a Kendall Wright who or a Demarius Thomas who got off to slow starts.
But now
Um,
they came back and
yeah, like
they had monster
seeing
games.
how someone's going to progress as far as their injury goes is a lot harder than actual success on the field and what they're doing. So
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
yeah. Okay, so my next guy on the injury report is Jimmy Graham. Now, this injury, it's not that it couldn't have come at a perfect time because they're on the Saints are on a bye week this week.
Right.
So are they on? Yeah, they're on a bye week, and so no, it is a bye week, right?
They have a bye week in week 6.
Week. Okay, I don't know why. In the back of my head, I was thinking they didn't have a bye week. Unless I don't even know what's going on there. So the real question is, will he be back 100% when he comes back next week? That is, I mean, it is a shoulder injury, so that it's it's one of those injuries where it's probably one of the least lingering injuries that you can have. So uh, I don't know. How do you feel?
For him, I'm pretty sure he's going to play week 7 against the Lions. Um,
Yeah, just the
I,
question is the numbers he's gonna get.
yeah, the question is, will he be put in situations where it's kind of just dink and dunk? So you're not, nothing over the middle, nothing where you're going to get destroyed. You got to wonder
Yeah.
how that's going to play into his role team. So, but speaking of shoulders, um, Carson Palmer has visited a specialist to reawaken the muscles around the nerve in his shoulder. Um, I'm not sure.
Reawaken?
Yeah, reawaken. Oh wait, no, just awaken.
That's a thing.
Forget the just
That's a thing.
awaken the muscles around the nerve in his shoulder. So, should people pick up Carson Palmer?
um, it all depends on your situation. Two quarterback league, and you need a quarterback or you need a backup. He is a perfect guy to pick up right now. Um, Standard leagues, I don't really see the need, at least right now, because um, it just depends because but whoever you're the owner of them, then obviously there's nothing you can do about it. But if you waiver wire, then you have to, you know, because I haven't really looked into the whole Carson Palmer situation. I know I should, so I don't really know, how bad the injury really is. I know he's missed 2 weeks, and he's gonna miss this week. We're pretty sure he's gonna miss this week, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the question is, it's just down the road, and then when he does get healthy, the same thing we always say: how is he gonna produce after the injury?
Right. Right.
That's the number one thing. So it just depends on your quarterback situation. If you're like me and you have Teddy Bridgewater and Andy Dalton as your quarterbacks, I've been considering picking them up, but I don't think I can drop Bridgewater for Carson. I just don't think I can do it. I don't
Really?
think I can get I don't think I can get myself to do that. No.
I honestly don't think there's a need to. Like, I wouldn't drop uh, Bortles for Orton or anything like that.
Yeah,
Like just because they're a veteran starter, doesn't.
doesn't
I
mean
think I
anything.
chalk it up to the same amount of points.
Yeah. Okay, so the next guy on our list, and this guy has been very interesting this year. Monte Ball. Now
Mm.
he injured his groin last week against the Cardinals, and he's supposed to be missing 2 to 3 weeks. He's expected to miss 2 or 3, but I've been getting word from a couple of the beat writers down there in Denver that he's gonna miss at least 4. So he's gonna be dropped a lot, and just the question is, you know, is he ever gonna? The real question is he ever gonna produce after? Because if you look at his numbers at the beginning of the year, he has not been doing well at all. He
Mm.
has just been complete garbage for you know, fourth, fifth round talent, just complete garbage. So I feel like he's gonna be on waivers for the rest of the year. I do believe this that 50% of all leagues he will be on the waiver wire for the rest of the year.
Mm. And Ronnie Hillman's percentages as being owned will.
Especially with the fact that Peyton Manning has even said aloud that he likes Ronnie Hillman. I feel like if Peyton Manning says something good about you, that's a that's a lock.
Yeah, yeah.
So moving on, our next guy we have Donald Brown. If you don't know who this guy is, he was on my waiver wire pickup last week. He is the Chargers quarterback.
Running back.
He running. Did I say quarterback?
You did.
Uh, how do I come back from
I don't
this?
know. Maybe like a moment of silence.
Let me just move on then. Donald Brown, he suffered a concussion in the game against the Jets, so you have to go through the protocol and all that. But if he does end up going through, I feel like he's another guy that if you picked him up, don't drop him yet. If he's on waivers, he's a reliable means. It's just the question is we have to wait till later in the week to figure out if he even plays or not. So if he does play, he'll be splitting the snaps. If not, he's not even worth mentioning at all. And our last guy on the list here, we got No Sean Moreno. Today at practice, he was wearing a sleeve because I think it's his shoulder. Is it his shoulder that's messed up?
I don't have the same inside sources that you do.
See, I don't have sources. I have Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Those are my sources. He was wearing a sleeve during practice, and that's a very good sign. I think he still has about 2 or 3 more weeks of healing before he'll be playing again. So he's gonna be staying on the waiver wire for a little bit, but I feel like when we get to like week 8, I think people are gonna start picking him up, especially because when he comes back, he's gonna be an immediate impact to that Miami Dolphins team, a definite impact. So to add to that, I'm gonna say if you have Lamar Miller, he is a running back 2 right now, to me. Running back 2, possibly running back 1 if you need him to be. So if you're a LaShawn McCoy owner and you have Lamar Miller, he is now your running back 1.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can put LaShawn McCoy at running back 2. So that does it for the injury report. Next here, I just have a couple players that I would like to mention that had pretty big games. Deshaun Jackson. He had He had that deep touchdown. Where he burned Earl Thomas. And everybody on Twitter messed it up. He did not beat Richard Sherman. Even you said it. He didn't beat Richard Sherman. But that's a different podcast for a different topic.
If we can manage a way for us to look at film, I think we'll have we'll come to an agreement after a half hour on that one.
Okay. His stat line was 5 catches, 157 yards, and a touchdown. He actually won me a game this week. Yes, I actually won a game this week. He gave me 41 points in a Yahoo League, and I ended up coming back when I was down 23
Oh, wow.
on Monday Night Football. So thank you to Deshaun Jackson for that. So I'm gonna ask you this question: where do you think, if you're a Deshaun Jackson owner, what do you do from here? Because obviously you start him if you have him. It's just the question is this a one-time thing, or is this gonna happen more with Kirk Cousins at quarterback?
I don't know. It seems like because of the way that he plays with being a deep threat, I've noticed that like against New York and against Seattle, that's all he's used for. So obviously they can't go to him and get him like 8 receptions. He can't be targeted, 8 to 12 times a game in that fashion. So
Yeah.
it seems like again he had like a plus 80 yard touchdown against New York, and because of that, his PPR value isn't that high because he doesn't
Oh,
get that many receptions.
he has no PPR value at all.
So if you are in a PPR league, I say still keep him because the yardage is there, because
It's just a
of
reception.
yeah, just the receptions. As far as what to do with him, most definitely start him. Most definitely.
Oh
Um,
yeah, he's like a Brandon Marshall. You start him no
yeah,
matter what.
yeah.
It's just
You're gonna have
he
some weeks where he only gets 4 points.
has.
I promise you. But then you're gonna
Yeah,
have yeah.
he's just one of those players. And just to add to that, he also has Kirk Cousins at quarterback, so that kind of does play a big role in his production.
Kirk Cousins
Like
looked, especially against Seattle, he put
he
those
looked very
passes to
well.
him right on the
Yeah,
money, like only where
yeah.
Deshaun could get it. So I don't think Kirk in any way impacts or like negatively impacts Deshaun Jackson's value as a fantasy
Oh,
player.
you're gonna go. He has no impact or no bad impact.
No negative impact. Yeah.
But look at last week against the Giants. He scored 2 points on one catch against the Giants, and then he went up against the number one defense in the league and had 5 catches for 157 yards. It's Kirk Cousins had a horrible game against the Giants. I don't think that'll happen again this year.
Right.
So for both Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Jackson, I feel like they're reliable people to have on your team. Deshaun Jackson, obviously starter. Kirk Cousins, 2 quarterback league, I see him there. Standard league, I mean, he's more of a bye week player than anything else. Bye week quarterback. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you did that bad in the draft where you didn't get any quarterbacks,
You
and
punted
you
you
needed him
drafted a
that
kicker
badly.
before a quarterback.
If you drafted a kicker before a quarterback,
Yeah, I had to
so
pick up Sean Sweezum, man.
right. So next thing on my list, Percy Harvin.
Oh man.
This guy played with owners' emotions so bad. Three
Yeah.
touchdowns called back. I don't know. I'm gonna look it up now. I don't know what his stat line was at the end of the game. I just know that if no other touchdowns came back, he was gold in every way, shape, or form. And that I would feel like that one game would have put his stock up. But now we're going into another week where he just had an average game, not even average, below average game. So people
However,
that go ahead.
however, I just want to say, despite the fact that those 3 touchdowns were called back, you can, however, see how they want to utilize him.
Yes,
Because like I
and
think
he's
that
already had his bye week.
did you see the diagram that showed like where the majority of his passes are caught? Like
Yeah,
most of
I
them are
did see
caught
that.
like anywhere from 3 yards in front of the line of scrimmage to 3 yards behind it. So he gets
Yeah,
a lot of touches in a lot of open space. So as from a health standpoint,
PPR,
from
PPR.
a PPR standpoint,
That's on
great.
hashtag PPR.
But from a health standpoint, I don't know about all that. But whatever.
Because he was getting cramps during the
Hello? You just went computer love right
quality
there.
easily. Huh?
Have you ever heard the song Computer Love? That's what your voice sounded
No,
like.
I've never heard that.
Your voice sounded like that
Oh,
for
it did?
it did. It did. Repeat the past 15 seconds.
No, I'm not gonna do that. So moving on, this guy I haven't. Mohamed Sanu. This if you if you don't Mohamed Sanu is in the Bengals. Last week against the Patriots, he had 5 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. I have him at a wide receiver 3 right now, and I feel like he is a wonderful flex option, at least for now, because Marvin Jones will be coming back soon, so that will deplete his value because he'll go back to the third wide receiver on the team. Now, I do think that could bump down his value a little bit, but at least for now, because especially with Marvin Jones still he's questionable every week so far. He was supposed to be back last week and wasn't. Uh, Again, this week at practice, he's been in sweats, and that's it all week. So, um, for now, if if you don't have him, he's the kind of guy I would trade for right now. I see a trade like I'm trying to think of an example. Maybe like a Darren Sproles from Mohamed Sanu, or especially if like the owner of Mohamed Sanu doesn't really know much about him and doesn't because Alex in our league he picked him up off waivers right before I was going to about week 3, and then he commented ha ha after it because he knew I was going to go after him. So you know I would buy medium. I'd buy silver right now for Mohamed Sanu. I don't know if you've seen any of the games he's been in or any of his production so far. I know you watched the Patriots game last week,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and I don't know if I don't know if you saw the production he was giving, but he's one of those players where it's very hard to find a guy who's consistent decent every single week.
Very
So I
hard.
feel like if you need consistent players, I think he's up there. So are there any other players that you would like to mention here in this topic? Or you're so unprepared, you have nothing at all.
You did an amazing job of going through those
Isn't it an
players
amazing job?
to the point where all I have left is scraps. So I'm not even gonna bother.
Come on. Come on, try.
What category? Like,
Try.
what section of the show are we in now? What is this part called?
Right now, I was just in like kind of just random players' productions.
Oh,
I guess I could have called this a wide receiver section because I only talked about wide receivers.
I would definitely just honorable mentions would be Kendall Wright had 2 touchdown grabs, and
Yes.
Justin Hunter had a big game as well. I don't know what that means from the future because I definitely put both of them in boom or bust categories. Also, Michael Crabtree. I don't know, man. Michael Crabtree only put up 2 points this week. He is still nursing that foot injury that he's had surgically repaired before. So, foot injuries are dodgy. So, with Michael Crabtree, I'm going to actually just bench him until he is feeling better. Because in the meantime, I can put Kendall Wright or Justin Hunter in at flex where he was. So, those are my 3 notable players.
Yeah. 3 notable players. Okay, so I'm gonna run through my roster that's 0-5 right now, and I just want listeners to understand my pain. I mean, I'm only 0-5 in one league. I just want to add that. Okay, so my quarterback is Andy. I have Andy Dalton as my quarterback. 3 wide receivers are Alshon Jeffrey, Andre Johnson, and Jeremy Maclin. I am very upset with Andre Johnson so far this year. I'm just gonna put that he has 58 points through 5 weeks so far. His value just keeps decreasing. Every week he's coming into the game with an ankle injury, and he's always questionable. Oh, look, okay, I'm about to say something crazy. On Jeffrey, their picture for him on Yahoo, they have him in a Bengals uniform.
Whoa! Hold on.
I'm gonna look into that when I'm done with the show. I'm gonna look into it when I'm done the show. I'm gonna keep going down my roster. I have Jeremy Maclin, who he is actually in my top 10 wide receivers that own in fantasy wise right now. Because every game, obviously except the Niners game the week before, he has a touchdown in every single game. Last week he had 5 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown. I feel like he is a guy that he's on my can't cut list. He's a guy that you can, if you don't really need him, like if you have 2 other stud wide receivers and you don't really need Jeremy Maclin, he's a guy that you can sell very high because there's going to be someone in your league that's willing to spend high on him. Probably not PPR because he's a big red zone. He's also he's a pretty big deep threat. He's a very good I can't find the word for it. He's a good replacement for Deshaun Jackson for Eagles fans. He has been a very good replacement so far. So also going down my list, I have Andre Ellington. 63 points so far, but last week he had 2 touchdowns for 100 against the Broncos, and I'm just gonna add that this kind of surprised me a lot because he's going against the top 5 defense in the Broncos. DeMarcus Ware, none of those guys, none of them seemed him at all. He just went off against them. Even caught 4 passes for 112 yards. So, PPR, he did pretty well there. Going down my list, I have Jeremy Hill, also as my second running back. I ended up putting Andre Williams on my bench. I am kind of upset that I did that because of the fact that, I how well he was going to do coming off a garbage time, points last week. But Jeremy Hill has given me 10 points solid each week so far, so I'm pretty happy with him. He was drafted in most leagues late rounds, so he's not really on a waiver wire at all. But he's not the guy that I would not sell, I would trade for. And then going through my flex are Sammy Watkins and Andrew Hawkins. We both mentioned this last week, Chad. We both had Sammy Watkins doing very well. So 7 catches for 87 yards. Do you think that is good enough on a weekly basis for Sammy Watkins, who was the 4th overall pick in the draft? What's your opinion on that?
Given the circumstances at QB position, I guess it has to be. You can't be upset with it. Obviously, in a different system or with different talent around him, you're looking at plus 100 yards and 1 or 2 touchdowns a game, but that's not the case, unfortunately. So
yeah,
I think it's fine though. I think it'll change once. I don't know how the Bills QB situation will change for something better, but maybe it will in the future. But not this year, obviously. But
yeah. Well, this whole QB situation in Buffalo, it's very interesting because Kyle Orton looked like he did not look good at all in the first half of the game, but he came in the second half and surprised me. And the Bills ended up winning on a game-winning touchdown. I do feel like Sammy Watkins he's a guy that he's going to put up numbers this year, especially with the fact that now he has Kyle Orton. at quarterback. Um, so that's about it. I really don't have anything else to mention because my teams did not do very well this week. My predictions did not do very well this week. I think Sammy Watkins was my only very good prediction I had going forward. And Travis Kelce was also pretty decent as well. So I would like to thank everybody that stuck around and listened to the podcast. My name is Hunter, and I was joined by my friend Chad.
As always.
And we will see you guys next week.
All right, see ya.